Yo, 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 this is King Erner. Another night, honorable talk show. Listen, Jeff Fort is one of the individuals I want to speak on, but you're going to also hear me mention on John Fry also. Jeff Fort, very young, intelligent, strong man. It was said to say in Chicago, he started a huge gang. This gang was called the Black P. Stone family. And of course, like many gang leaders, he made sure that he honored those in the community. When I say honored, I'm speaking of honor in a negative form, where if you was a young guy that didn't have anything with Jeff Fort, you had a job. I mean, it's just as simple as that. Many times he went to jail and many times he came home. At the end of the day, Jeff Fort is an individual that changed his life all the way around. Politically, Jeff Fort has been called on because you have to remember in them times, we have to try to look into the understanding of the poverty they had. These kids barely had a home to live in, and when they did have a home to live in, it was just like buck wild, everybody done them. Jeff Fort is responsible for what I would say harming individuals in them times, harming a lot of individuals. But Jeff Fort is also an individual who changed his life. Jeff Fort is also an individual that if you let him out of the prison cell today, he could change lives. They were saying that he's an ADX Supermax because of his continuously being in contact with gangs and doing things from prison. I honestly don't believe that. Let me be the voice for Jeff Fort today. And let me give you this. When you have strong individuals like Jeff Fort was an individual whose gang doubled and doubled and doubled and grew and grew. And although they had fights with gangsters' disciples, they still was both very strong. They were groups of men that had a lot of honor and strength, and they didn't have no picks. Those times it was different. It wasn't cameras. It wasn't too many of what I would call rats running around. So individuals got dealt with accordingly to the crime they committed. And some individuals will say, no, they laid down individuals that wasn't a part of the streets, and I disagree with that. Who's to say that they didn't have the same strength as the mafia, but stronger? Who's to say that these individuals just was misunderstood? Who's to say that these individuals didn't have the support that the mafia got? The mafia got support from a lot of different people. These gang leaders and these gang members, they was left to die in the middle of Chicago and other parts of the world where cities is just as violent as anywhere else. We got to remember that in order to be a great man, you have to know the things that you done was wrong and fix those things by doing good things. So although they may have arrested and do homicides on Jeff Fort, who's to say that Jeff Fort, if he was able to be released from prison, would change the whole nation? If him and Larry Hoover had so much stronghold over individuals' lives, who's to say that they wouldn't have been those leaders that we need? See, we need leaders that was actually experiencing the negativity, actually going through the poverty in order for our youth to change. We need a lot of individuals who are book smart also. But more than anything, guys like Jeff Fort, who didn't have an education really. Some was to say that he was illiterate at a time. And some was to say that he is one of the most intelligent individuals now than he ever was. After sitting in ADX Maximum Florence for, from 2006 to 2016, these individuals are more than strong. They put our people in these cells like this in order to break them, and they never break. They understand their own wrong from the punishment just a little bit, and it didn't take for them to go to jail forever to get that understanding. You will find out that these individuals grew more maturely when it came down to thinking and understanding politics and helping our people, more in prison than they ever did. We will learn that Jeff Forts are needed in our community today. We will understand one day that instead of it being one individual going and speaking and yelling and trying to get the kids to do everything, there's going to be individuals that come from the streets that will be able to help individuals like myself. But first, we must condition everything within ourselves, because we are individuals trying to heal. But guess what? We need healing ourselves. And that's what a lot of us don't understand. You'll have dudes jump into what I do every day. Oh, I want to do this. Man, I want to do that. I want to do it. All of a sudden, just because they see I do it. And guess what? They don't understand the energy that comes out of you by giving your story, by giving all the pain that you went through. A lot of people do not understand what you go through by giving the message. They say, why do motivational speakers get paid so much? Why is motivational speakers always? Well, wouldn't you want to get something back in return for all the pain that you give other individuals to help them? You can't talk down on people about what they've been through or how and why and try to figure out questions if you don't know, if you never experienced. Jeff Fort is a leader. Larry Hoover is a leader. These men are in control of the time, and the time isn't in control of them. I hear lots of individuals say in the comments, if Jeff Fort or Larry Hoover was to go home, they'd be murdered. Maybe. You know why? Because it's you that's murdering them. Because you already counted them out from saving the youth. You see, you get those youngins that think they're bigger and they're smarter and they're more intelligent than the OGs when they miss out because they don't think, they don't know, they don't inform, they don't have the right knowledge to inform. But yet they're quick to inform when they get arrested. They're quick to inform, to tell on everything that's around them in order to set themselves free just to get $1. We got to recondition and reconstruct. I was talking to Hawk from Black and Nobel today, and he said, sometimes we relive our lives, and when we relive it, we go through the same thing we already went through. There has to be some type of change. And the way I look at it is, of course we understand that wrong things in life to do shouldn't be put in the front of the eyes of our children. But what if some of these wrong things needed to be, in the eyes of our children? What if they needed to see what was going on at this time in order to be better in life? What if they needed to see this in order to go to college? One day, after that summer of Philadelphia, what I seen, I want to get out. That's how most children would think. Maybe this is what the plan is. But one thing we got to understand, like Jeff Fort being a Muslim, like Larry Hoover being a Muslim now, we don't control what God has already destined. All of you people that's going to jump in the comment and say, how are you saying killers, ex-killers and ex-drug dealers can be of good and lead our children? Well, I'm going to say two things, and I'm going to lead it right to two different groups of people. One being my own group of people, the Muslims, Umar radiallahu anhu. You see the type of tyrant he was. He was against Muslims, but yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still used him to get that tawheed, that oneness of Allah that the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought. Then you have the Christians who are probably in my comments and they're knocking these individuals because of their past life. But yet there was a Saul who was on his way to Damascus to wipe out all Christians. He fell off a horse, as it was said. Scales fell from his eyes. And then he seen the light to go and be a part of that group. Same thing with Umar radiallahu anhu. After he heard his sister reciting the Quran, he ran to be a part of Islam. We must begin to understand that it's the people that are wrong, the people that have done all the bad in the world, that will take over and bring the positivity. Do you remember what they say Isa alayhi salam said when he went to the multitudes? He said, blessed is those who are poor in spirit, because they will inherit the kingdom of heaven. Y'all got to stop with the myths. Stop following the gang thing all the way around. This platform is to grab your mind. How I started off was to grab your mind, to get you in tune to what's going on. Because guess what? Most of you guys only tune yourself in with drugs and streets and fashion. But yet I come to you tonight, leaving off another honorable brother that's in prison, that's still surviving, by the name of Jeff Ford. I spoke about Larry Hoover yesterday. And I'm telling you that my teachings of the Honor Your Life campaign will help our youth. It already has. I started off speaking in one of the most serious, dangerous of schools, the Old Boone, which is Camelot. Everybody in Philadelphia know what that school is. When the other individuals didn't want to deal with these troubled youth, I took time out to deal with them. And I gathered my experience. And my experience was that they are the best of the children and they're the most smartest. We got to start helping these young men, helping these young women see a different vision, point them in that path, and give them that understanding that they are great. There are more Jeff Fords. But guess what? We're going to stop those Jeff Fords that are in the gangs, that want to be a part of the gangs. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to let them understand that they can be a part of the Honor Your Life campaign family. We are one big family worldwide. Listen to me, people. There is no race. It is not about color. It is not about creed. It's about uniting based off of us getting these children to go in the right path. Now, how many of us can unite off of that? Because even in Islam, you're allowed to go back and help your people and steer them in the correct path. Many of us that have failed are only winning through the youngins doing something right when we see it. I had a young child say to me today in my DM, he said, I look up to you. And I was honored because he could have said that about 20 years ago and said he looked up to me and looked up to all that nonsense that I was doing and all the nonsense that I spoke about individuals on my platform, and proving to you guys that it's the people that were negative that we need to embrace, because those are the ones that's going to help change. Once Jeff Ford take that podium, if he was to be let go, and he allowed all of his people to know, the Black Stone, the Black Peace Stone individuals, that he's doing the right thing, and he suggests them to go that route, may not be all of them, but a good percentage will ride with him, even the elders, based off of his strength. Same thing with Larry Hoover and the Gangster Disciples. We look at it as two different gangs, but guess what? We all are part of the same gang, and know what that gang is? The color of our skin. We got to start helping one another get on the ladder and begin to climb. If we don't, these children are going to continue to kill each other. We just noticed and seeing it in Philadelphia. You know, rest in peace, Little Moo. But guess what? In Chicago, in them gangs, they was 9 and 10 years old killing each other. They was 8 and 9 learning how to shoot a gun. And you talk about it's repeating itself. Nah. We're just failing as a community. We're not looking out for one another. We're not caring. We're not helping. Too much jealousy, too much hatred. But I'm here to bring that unity together to the Honor Your Life campaign family. And guess what? September the 17th, be on the lookout. The platform going to flip. You got to watch it. It's going to flip because the school I'm going to, the school that I picked to deal with this year, I had millions of schools. I was like this. But I looked at this one school. A brother from Atlanta came here to Philadelphia, and his program is sharp. And guess what? I'm going to back it 199%. But he's allowing the Honor Your Life campaign to have a big platform in his school. It's going to be on YouTube. I'm giving it to you guys. Stay tuned into what I have going on. And remember, if Malcolm X can change, if I can change, if all the terrible individuals, even the brother Glaze, everybody say I see a lot of people, they back his play or whatever you say, even if he can change, if all these individuals can change, what do we have? We have a better world, and we have youngins who's going to follow a good lead. King Earner Live and Direct.